stress marks. Nasal N, ga, H, shi, la, ya, B, hard B, wa, ba, ha, ki, ha, o, I, ha, ke, shi, ha, na, jin, kte. Okay. Yo, khla, te, yo, te. I don't know what the heck that is. Shni, it's supposed to be. Shni. I don't know what the heck that is. Yo, te, ya, oyate, ki, ha. We, chi, cha, ri, kta, cha, le, cha, mu, welo. Okay? If you wanted to get more technical, o, I, hon, ke, shni, ha, all the vowels. All the vowels are coming up. It's a long nasal. Kte, E. This is how you learn your sounds, okay? Hunka shila yapi tawa paha. Oh, what's there? This is nasal. Nasal A, H, E, AH, AH, E, AH. Are you guys starting to make your sounds and learn that the A's, all the vowels don't sound like Washichu A vowels? Because it does make a big difference. Tukashila yapi tawapaha ki. Kiha o ihan ke shniha najinkte. Yo khlate ya oya te kiha. Wichi cha rinkta cha le chamu welo. The flag song came from a guy named Ellis Chips. He was from Wambali. He was a relative of mine. He was married to one of my great aunties or something like that. Anyway, his sister, they get carried away and they always try to make something sound like really authentic and really old. But the truth is, this is the truth that I know. He was, he had a sister whose husband went to World War II and he got killed over there. So his sister kept crying all the time. She was sad, walking around in the hills out there in the Badlands over there by Wambali. So he used to follow her around and watch her and make sure she was okay. Well, in the meantime, he was also a singer So I know that for a fact that during World War II, back in the 40s, my dad used to tell me that all the guys that didn't go into the service or didn't go into the war, they used to get together and they would make songs. And that's where all the rabbit dance songs, all the 49 round dance songs, a lot of honoring songs. I think the Lakota people have the most honoring songs for veterans. And so they used to get together and make these songs for these people, for the guys that went into the service, all of a sudden they had something to sing about on the part of being a warrior, because, back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, they quit being warriors. They wouldn't let them go hunting, and they couldn't fight their enemies anymore. And so they had to find a way to keep their manhood about being a warrior. And so when all these guys volunteered and went into the service and went to war, some of the guys that couldn't go, they would create songs for them. They would get together and get songs for them. And when they came back and when they had stories to tell, they would make songs out of those stories that they had told. Well, he made this song, and it was an honor song in honor of his brother-in-law that died in the war. And when he made this song, he brought it out as an honor song, and they were singing it. And here around 1953, someplace around there, 54, he got with another singer from, the man's name was Ellis Chips. He got with a guy named Chris Big Eagle, who also lived in that area, Wombly. Anyway, we're all related to the Wombly people. We used to be all one big Tioshpai. And here they put a line in the middle and said, okay, you guys are Oglalas and you guys are Rosebuds. And that's how we became separate. But even me, I have a whole bunch of relatives in Wombly and Pass Creek and Ellen and all that area. But he got with this guy named Chris Big Eagle, and they fixed the song up and they used to sing it. And here they took it to a friend of ours. I even knew him. He was a older white man. He looked like a white guy. He had all white hair and he was real light skinned. But he used to always tell us, "I'm a real half breed, you guys." And he was really good friends with my dad, and my dad never spoke Lakota. But he used to speak Lakota to him, and his mom was pure Lakota and his dad was a pure Frenchman. They got together and got married. A long time ago, if those men looked like they were hard workers and survivors, these Indian people would give their daughter to them, and he would marry them, and that's how a lot of those, because if you guys ever noticed Rosebud area, there's a lot of Frenchmen. French names, that's where they came from. They were given these Indian women, and they stayed and got married and, all raised their kids here. But his name was Jim Emery. And he said, all the way up until I was in high school, I never realized that my mom and dad spoke different languages. Because she would talk Lakota to him, he would talk English. And then they would talk to each other and they understood each other. So he never knew the difference. And until he was in high school and he started realizing that, there was different kids, And he said, then I came home and then I thought, hey, my mom's talking Lakota to me and my dad's talking Washichu to me. I never even knew the difference, I grew up like that. Well, anyway, he had his own recording studio in Rapid City. So he invited these two guys over there, and he recorded them, and they created the song, they wrote it out, and they recorded it. And then he was pretty well off, so he took them and he went to Washington, D.C., They went to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, met the commissioner for the Indian Affairs, and they introduced that song to them as the Sioux National Anthem, as the Lakota flag song. And so they got it recognized, they sang for them, and then they got the president to put a seal on it. So it was officially recognized as the Sioux National Anthem. So this song came about, at that time, that's when he made that. And they kind of changed a little bit of the words around, but it's grandfather, you know. Grandfather, Tunkashilayapi, it's not only a grandfather, we call God Tunkashila. When we pray in the ceremonies, we call the creator Tunkashila. We call our grandfathers Tunkashila. We call our tribal president Tunkashila. We call the Pope Tunkashila. We call the President of the United States Tunkashila. And it's funny because all that, came about only because we recognize him as somebody who is older, who is stronger, who has a powerful mind and knows how to take care of his people and all this. And so that word came about in that manner. Tunkashilayapi. That's grandfather. Our grandfather. Tawapaha Gihan. Tawapaha Gihan is the flag, the United States flag. In Lakota, we also have the flags. We have the eagle staffs. We have the spears. They all mean the same. Tawapaha, Tawapaha Gihan. O ihanke shni ha najinkte. It means that it will stand forever. It will stand without end. It will stand forever. This came because the words have to get, that syntax, the words have to get changed around. O ihanke shninaji, standing without end. Iochlatea, underneath it, underneath the flag, the people shall grow. It doesn't mean they're growing, it means that they're flourishing. As a nation. That's what the sound means. Iochlatea. Wichi charinkte is the growth. That's where they're going to grow and flourish, as a nation. Ktacha, it was something that was coming. It's forthcoming, it's predicted. Le chamue is why I did this. I went to fight and I got killed. I gave my life up for that. For this. For the Wapaha, for the Tunkashila, for the flag, and for the people, the growth of the people. And that's what the song means, Tunkashila yapi. See where all the guttural, all the sounds are? Tunkashila yapi. Tcha Wapaha kiha. O iha. Ke shni ha najinkte. It will stand without end. Iyochla te ya oyate ki ha wichi charinkta. I got it wrong. Wichi charinkte might be. It can be either way. I'll just leave it kta. It can be either way. Kte or kta. Wichi charing kta cha le cha muelo. Le cha muelo. See how it makes a big difference knowing your vowels? Makes a big difference knowing where that critical marks go. Because I could say tukasila yapi. Tunkasilayapi tawapaha kihan, oihanke sni hana jinkte kete. Ioha. See, those two sounds come together, so you have to use that sound in there. Iohala te ya, oyate kihan, we see sa jin kta. Kta sahe le samue. Makes a whole difference, when you knew if you did it with washichu vowels and if you did it with no diacritical marks showing where the stress marks are. Even the stress marks make a difference. Kawa paha ki ha. O I ha ke shni. O I no. O I ha ke shni. He na jing te. I o chlate ya. O ya te ki ha. We chi cha ring ta cha le cha mu lo. All the stress marks. Ka shila ya pi thawa pa ha ki ha. O I ha ke shni he na jing te. I o chlate ya. O ya te ki ha. We chi cha ring ta cha. Le cha mu lo. Hail. If you want to, next you can break it up in syllables. We chi cha ring ta cha. See how that goes? It's also supposed to say tawa pa ha ki ha.
Why am I in class right now?
Stress mark. Syllables. Break it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change this, okay? I know you guys can rewrite it. Here's the other one. This one, you don't really have to sing it to me, but I just want you to recognize all the vowels in there. It's a victory song. And all songs that Lakota people make are repeated. They're not, now the new music, the new nowadays of powwows, the young guys that make stories, man, they put so much words in it, you can't even sing it. You can't sing behind them. Hey you ha na tampe, hey you ha na tampe, hey you ha na tampe. And then that repeats it with the flag song.
Instead of being P-I, wouldn't it be P-E at the end?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because
We'll
we learned
make-
how to sing that when I was singing.
And then I know it, yeah. And as kids, they make them learn that.
Down at Hito, we always had to sing the flag song every morning and then the victory song.
Uh huh. Most Lakota songs, what it is they're charging with the grandfather's flag. You know, they're going into battle, and that's what that means. And they're charging again. Translations for the song. I could give you some of it. I'll just give you word for word. Grandfather.
Oh, is there anything you
And then this is the flag, okay? And this is without in. Or you can say forever. And this is stand. Oh. Stand. So it's the grandfather's flag will stand forever. Underneath, this Yochlate is underneath. Underneath, the people will grow. That is why I did this. That is why I did this. And what he did is, it's like understood language. What he did was he volunteered, went to war, and got killed in war. Okay? He gave up his life so that we'll have freedom forever, or whatever, you know. And this one, Yohana Tampi, is, they are charging. This one, all it is the same thing, grandfather's flag. They used the grandfather's flag when they were charging. It's the same thing, because it's up there. So that's how the song is translated.
Grandfather's flag, they use.
Yeah, it doesn't, yeah, they just, with grandfather's flag, they are charging with it. That's what they're saying. They are charging with grandfather's flag, you know, the grandfather's flag. It's also up there. Now you see it, so the song just generated into that, except that it was a faster beat, because the flag song is always a slow beat. And this one is a fast beat where you can dance to it. That's why it's repeated, but then it also has the same connection with you're talking about the grandfather and the flag, when the staff, when they're charging with it as a battle scene. And that's what the song is made from.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the second part of the song right there, that Tunkashila. So it's Yuha mani pe, Yuha mani pe, Yuha mani pe, Tunkashila ya pitawa pahaki, Yuha mani pe.
So there are the two different songs.
Yeah, the first one is, the blues are all the flag song. Blues and greens is the flag song, and that one is that one. Ya Tunkashila ya pitawa pahaki ha, oi ha ke shnihe na jinkte, iyo chlate ya, oya teki ha, wichi chahink ta chale chamuelo he. And then the second part is Hey Yohana Tampe, Hey Yohana Tampe, Hey Yohana Tampe, Tunkashila ya pitawa pahati, Hey Yohana Tampe, oh hey. Like that. So it's you know, the song, one is the flag song, you know, everybody stands still at attention. Second part, victory song, everybody dances to it. And it's almost like a protocol that follows every powwow anymore, you know. So everybody does it. Even if you go powwows like in Denver and Albuquerque, you know, California, it's the same protocol. But right now, because you guys are just now coming into it, you know, I don't know what they taught you guys in elementary, you know, in grade school or high school, but at least now you know the grammar. You know how our language goes. You know the sounds, you know the differences between the vowels, you know, the guttural, dicritical, why those marks are there, you know. The syntax, you know, is when you create a sentence. When you write you write a sentence in English, and then you write it down in Lakota, all the meanings of it in Lakota, and then you turn around and you have to change it around. Because the subject comes first. And then the adjective, the descriptive part of what that subject is, and then the verb, how it's used. And that's how our language works. So they have all these terms in linguistics that you have to learn to use. And it's fun. Once you learn words, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's like that, the other one where I said maka and maka, you know. There's other words like that that you can use, like that oha, and there's two ohas. One is wherever that slash is, that emphasis. One is oha. It means, you know, oh really, you know. and the other one is oha. I should have told him, yeah, well, it's the same thing, oha. There's 3 of them actually, but he only kept saying 2 of them. One is oha, which means that you're walking around inside a big crowded room. Oha o money, you know, you're inside that crowd, you know. There's another one that's oha, and it's a short oha, which is something that you wear. I'll tell you a joke about that. A long time ago, these sisters had a cousin. He was the only boy in his family. And he was the only one they had, only child, and he was a boy. And then not too far from them, they had his cousins lived there, first cousins, and they were all girls. So they used to do quill work and bead work, and they used to do everything for that boy. They really treated him real special. Here he was a hilka. A hilka is a contrary, you know, like a clown, somebody that does goofy things. Anyway, and he does things backwards. And so they made him a whole pair of quill work moccasins, just beautiful, you know, those girls, and they gave it to him as a gift. You know. Even those 2 ohans, one is wearing is oha, and the other oha is cooking. And so one day his parents came back home. They came to town to do business, and they go back, and that's when they were still traveling around in wagons and teams. And they come back, and he's really outside, really cooking something in a pot, you know, just dancing around, and cooking just all happily. And every once in a while he'll fish something out, and he'll look at it and he'll put it back in. So they all came and they said, "What are you doing?" And here he said, "Well, they told me to oha these, you know. They told me to cook them." So he's really cooking those moccasins. That's how it is. And the funny thing is, you can learn by listening. You know, sit there and learn everything by listening. But you also, like linguistics, nice, you got to learn all this. You have to learn all that, because if you don't, and you try to talk, you're going to have one heck of a time trying to say those words. There's a lot of old words that I used to use when my mom and dad were alive. When I came back to Minnesota about 4 years later, all of a sudden I had to relearn how to use those words, how to say them, how to make that sound, you know. And it was really hard. And there's still some words I always try to say it. My brother's looking at me. He's really going like this to me, and then pretty soon he'll end up just blurting it out at me, and I'd say, "Oh yeah," and but then I would have to say it like 3 times in order to make sure that I said it right. Because if you don't use those muscles and you don't, you know, try to make those sounds every day or every chance you get, it is hard. It's really hard to say them. A lot of those, you know. And or either that, sometimes I would end up saying Lakota, and he says Lakota. I said, "Oh yeah, okay," you know, because I just, you know, it's so crazy, but I make it fun because I really utilize everything I have, you know, try to use it, you know, and then if I make a mistake, I repeat it. If I'm talking and I make a mistake, I will repeat it until I say it right, and usually the 3rd time I can say it right. But it is. You know, a lot of it is like that. And I was teaching my grandsons how to sing the flag song. That's what I did. I had to keep singing it over and over. Sometimes I would look at them, Lakota, you know, and I would make them say it. And I would really, pretty soon they start learning how to say it. And now they sing it just perfect, you know.